We're back. So now we're gonna get back into what's my pathway. Sort out a few things here. Pop it up, pop, pop, pop. Here we are. Okay. So hopefully you can see this. My notes are nonsense. Just to pretend I said what you said before. Greatest artist of all time. Okay, cool. Just so you should see my screen now, right? Do you have that? There we go. Good. The calendar. Yes. Thank you. All right. So now I wanted to give everyone a little break before we did this, because when I run this live in the workshops, this is where the wheels come off. You know, we've just done all this brainstorming and then we go to put it in the calendar and everyone just falls apart. They just melt on the ground, and it's just too much to kind of do it all at once. So I just wanted us to have a quick little break. And then in that last section, I sort of talked about how we have these blocks, right? These blocks of time, the visual sort of representation of how big the project is. So what we're going to do now is we're basically going to do this is what I call end of month outcomes, right? So you're going to take your first block. So at the moment, February is already gone. And then you've got your goal at the end here. So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna actually write it down here. So this is your end of year goal. So I'm just gonna say album, just because I don't have heaps of space there. Album. So I'm gonna have a finished album. And then we're gonna take those blocks and we're gonna start just placing the blocks in the calendar. So you'll just notice we're not getting into too much detail. We're just taking this big goal. We're slowly breaking it down. So for me, it was so I said I was going to do songwriting, and that was going to go for 4 months, I think it was. So you know, I'm just going to add it in here because we've got these extra couple of weeks. So we've got songwriting, 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 songwriting. You can also put in, you know, maybe what the goal is. So it's I think it was 20 songs. 20 songs. Sort of by the end of June. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 17, 18. So there's like 18 weeks to write songs, but maybe there are like 2 weeks where I write 2 songs. Okay. And then the next one was demo record for a month, rehearse, record. The recording probably actually, you know, would take longer or whatever, but this is just an example. Mix. We're going to take time to mix it, listen to it, sign off on the mixing, and then mastering. Okay. Is that all looking, that's all looking right? Why does this thing keep happening? This is from, can I erase that? No, I can't. Okay. Hopefully that all stays there when I come back. Yes, good. Okay. So now these are our end of month outcomes. And Then we have our calendar. Phantom scribbles, yeah. I think on one of the slides I've done this presentation before, and it recorded the inking. So it just keeps coming up. I don't know why it keeps coming up on every other slide. All right. So this is where it starts. This is going to be like maybe slightly more time consuming to do this part, but it's definitely absolutely worth doing. So I'm just going to write in here song 1. So this means song 1 gets written this week. Also, this isn't perfect. Some of these months are actually, there's going to be a month or two that actually have 5 weeks, but we're still just kind of in the breaking it down kind of thing. Then I'm going to have song 2, song 3, song 4. I'm just going to do this quick. 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to decide in May that I'm going to actually on this week, for whatever reason, I'm going to do 13 and 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 and 19. And then here I'm going to do 20. Okay. And, you know, depending on looking at your calendar, this might all change, but we'll get to that as well. Okay. So that's the middle of the year point. That's a great milestone to aim for and to hit. Then the next one, the demoing. Okay, so I've got 20 songs. It means I need to demo 5 songs a week, that's actually heaps. 5 demos. I actually don't know if this is possible, right? And this is kind of what happens when you start doing this process. So also you can be doing this as Phantom scribbles are back. So and then rehearse. Maybe you're going to do 2 a week. Rehearse times 2. Rehearse times 2. Rehearse times 2. Then you're going to record. And it's, you know, probably, well, let's just say again, you're going to do like record 2 days a week. 2 days a week. So same. Record 2 days a week, record 2 days a week. I'm obviously just spitballing this, right? And then we're going to mix mix 5 songs, mix 5, mix 5. Oh, actually, so by this point you will have chosen, maybe let's just say it's going to be 12 songs on the album. Okay, so you're going to mix 6. You're going to mix 6 notes. You know, tweak the mixes, mix all, notes, mix all. We're going to spread that over that whole thing. So, well, actually, what we noticed here is maybe we need more time for demos. So maybe we shuffle all of this across. I'm not going to do all of that now, or just shuffle that way. That's going to go that way. And then the mixing is actually happening in November. And we realize maybe it's only going to take a month to do the mixing. So this is all mixing here. And then mastering process. So just, you know, getting the files from whoever you need to get them from, having a mastering session, listen, another session, sign off. Done. Okay. So you get the idea of that, right? So what we just did here, this is just the first pass of this. Don't try and do this perfectly. Do this rough, just the way I did it now, right? I just like, okay, I'm putting that block there, that block's there, that block's there, that block's there. Actually, now that I see it on the page, that block needs to be a bit bigger, which means maybe the mixing takes less time. And you start to get a more realistic feel for it. Takes it from being just this conceptual thing that you've been working on, you've got in your mind, and it starts to bring it down to earth. That's all we're kind of doing, because artists are great at like the whole idea generation thing. And what this is doing is slowly just landing the plane in a way that's like considered, gives you a sense of like certainty, clarity, all that stuff. All right. So what I recommend with this is to actually either print out a planner like this, or just, yeah, I just created this as a table within PowerPoint. So just in a document, a Word doc, or just draw this up. I literally just draw it up on the page. I go line down the middle, and then make you know, 6 columns, and then do another page, and then you just go for it. This doesn't have to be perfect or whatever. It's about the process, not about perfection. So what I highly, highly, highly recommend is you take this first one, right? But you also have a life outside of this goal. And maybe you're going away. Maybe there's other events happening. Maybe you are doing some workshop, or maybe you're attending some other training, or whatever it might be. Put that stuff in the calendar as well. Like, oh, actually, whatever. In June, I'm going to Bali. How cool would that be? I'm putting that in my calendar now. Okay, I'm going to Bali. Okay, how does that affect it? All right, it means either these two songs are not going to get done, or I'm still going to do them while I'm away. I'm going to commit to writing those songs, even though I'm in Bali. Or you go, okay, what that means is I need to make up for these two songs. So I'm actually going to add a song in here. So plus one song there, plus one song there. So every third week of the month, I aim to do 2 songs, something like that. And then your end of month goal starts to look like this. Okay, so actually, I'm now aiming for 5 songs per month. And that means maybe it doesn't have to happen in that month, maybe that week, maybe it happens throughout the month. But okay, you kind of get where I'm going with this, right? So I can't remember if I said this, but you should absolutely commit to doing 3 drafts of this. We've essentially did that first draft, and then I started to kind of get a bit more detailed. That would be like a second draft, adding other elements in there. I'm going away, this is happening, blah, blah, blah. That would be like a second draft. And then it's really not until the third draft that you will feel like, oh, this actually is manageable. Because in the second draft, you might end up adding end of month goals. Like, because if I'm going to rehearse, record, mix, and master, I can't just at the start of the month go, oh, I need to put a band together. So some of the goals for this might end up being back here. So maybe once you have your first 10 songs, just say band outreach, like just to, give people a heads up. While you're doing this one, maybe you're picking a studio as well. That's the goal, end of month goal for that one. Then in this one, you're researching and choosing a mixer that you want to work with. And then even in this one, you're researching and choosing who the mastering engineer is. And then, you know, like with the rehearsal, okay, well, I have to book the rehearsals. So book rehearsal space, whatever. So it starts to get a little bit more detailed. But again, like simplicity really is the key of this. Okay. So how's everyone's brains feeling? We did that in about 15 minutes. So we all good? Just let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep going. So yeah, the key things with this one is 3 drafts. Highly, 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 highly recommend this. Even, you know, I do this process all the time, and I do it with artists, and I have done so for the last 12 years. And so I know where people drop off. So it becomes so obvious. And this is one of them. And people try and take the shortcut of just, yeah, I've got the plan. Yeah, I'm done. And, you know, like when we talk about the creative process, one of the most difficult parts of the creative process is that discomfort of it not being done yet and not knowing how to move forward. That's like one of the biggest blocks for doing creative work is like, I don't really know how this pans out. Well, doing the planning is a similar thing. We get to this point of like discomfort of like, oh, I don't want to do it again, whatever. But I want you to think about this planning process as a creative process. This is a part of your creative process. It's the very early stage of the creative process where you're actually getting clarity, getting understanding. You're starting to shape your entire creative world. You're creating your creative practice. So with that, we want to just include, okay, this is going to take a couple of drafts. There's going to be things that I don't know how this works. There's going to be discomfort, and I'm willing to, you know, to do the next iteration of this, do the next draft. I'm going to keep refining. I'm going to use a finer grain of sandpaper here, and I'm going to shape this properly. This kind of is like building a sculpture, because once you have this sculpture, it really, really feels good. I don't know if you've ever been in a place where you feel like you have real clarity around your creative practice, but when you get it, man, it's so valuable to have that in your body. Okay, so with all of that said, I think we're just going to move on then. Hopefully you've got that and you've taken that to heart. Okie dokie. We just want to move on to the next one. See if we'll get phantom writing on the next slide. My hand is raised. What? Why is that happening? That's so funny. Okay, cool. My hand is raised. Don't know why. Okay, end of month outcomes. So you should now have your end of month outcomes. That should be really clear. Oh, I just figured out how I can change the colors of stuff. Ha! Man, awesome. Can you hear my excitement about that? Okay. So back to the workshop. What are your end of month outcomes? So you should have those now in your calendar. So the next step is this week. What must move forward this week? Your top one to three outcomes. So in my case, it was songwriting. So write one song, and then often I always estimate like how long the thing will take. So I'm actually going to give myself, like, to properly do this, I'm going to say 5 hours. Sit down, get a song from start to finish, where I have the chords, the lyrics, all the sections are there. It's at a level where I could rehearse it with a band. Okay. So was there something else? No, that was it for the first week. So I just want to give you an example of what we're doing. Okay. So we ask, what do I really want? And that's a pretty kind of, it's kind of vague, amorphous thing of like, oh, I want to write more songs. Songs is in there, kind of, right? Then what we did is we like clarified that. Or album. Album was my thing. Album, yeah, album. Still really vague. Then we went, okay, let's. I'm just going to put this in a 6-month calendar. Oh, okay, album. Then we wrote it down and we started to put it into this structure. Yeah. Then we're like, okay, so that's the like year view. Then we started to break it down to month view. Okay, now we've got the month view. Now we're getting it down to one block, right? So, and that block just says song. The reason this is helpful for artists and creative people usually are or can be kind of closer to that ADHD spectrum. This is definitely true for me. That's why I need all of this structure around me. Without this structure, I just like float around and do nothing and just feel lost and hopeless and hate myself and hate my life. So what we're doing right now is we're taking this amorphous thing, album, I've got an idea for an album, blah, and we're just writing it down, putting it in a structure. And then what we're doing now is we're just actually we're just highlighting this. That's all we're doing. And then for the rest of the stuff, we're just ignoring all of this because we've done the work of getting clear. Okay, the album. We're clear on the steps. Yep, I know how to get up the mountain. Now all I need to do is focus on this week. So I actually find this kind of climbing a hill analogy very helpful when it comes to this kind of planning process. So we're down here and we want to get up to here. So this is album. What we've done is we've carved up the milestones. I guess an end of month thing. You could just think of it as a milestone. And then we're just carving that down to even smaller milestones. So the analogy that I like with this is when you go, bushwalking. If you've ever gone camping and you go bushwalking, you've got a map and you figure out where you're getting to. And then maybe each of these monthly outcomes, maybe they're like an overnight, camp spot or whatever. And then each of these is a day of walking or whatever. The first step when we're going bushwalking, you don't actually, you're not constantly just looking at the peak of the mountain where you want to get to. You're not looking up here. So if you did that, you would walk off the track, you would walk over the edge of a cliff, you would trip on a rock, whatever. So what you have to do is get your gaze to just be down here. And that's all you need to focus on. Like when it gets to the start of the week, you just let go of this entire plan because you've already done the thinking. You've done the thinking ahead of time. All you need to focus all of your energy on is the thing that's happening this week, whether it's a song or painting or drawing, or could be setting up your studio, whatever that goal is. And we're just making this the priority, and then we're just blocking everything else out for now. Because once you take that step forward and now you're here, then you're just going to be looking at that. You're going to look up and go, oh, that's what we're doing, right? Head down, and then you're just going for it. Okay, that'll make sense. So hopefully, while I've been talking, you've been figuring out what is your one step. Okay, I want to include this in here just briefly because it's so important, and it's definitely part of like my planning process. And if you've done any work with me, you will know that I talk about daily practice all the time, because if you don't have a daily practice, you don't really have a practice, and you're not really being an artist. You're doing other things. And your calendar and your weekly planner is a reflection of your values. It's a reflection of your true values and who you actually are being, not like who you'd like to be or whatever. Yeah, your weekly planner is proof of who you're being. So we want to include daily practice. We want to be showing up in some capacity. So the question that I like to ask around this is, what's a daily creative action that's aligned with my goal? So this goal I've been talking about with the album, there actually could be a whole bunch of them. One is obviously songwriting in some form. So that could be come up with 5 lyric ideas. Come up with 5 song titles. I think it's probably like a similar kind of thing. One thing that I used to do every day was listen and review music. And what I would do, sometimes it would just be one song, but I'd put headphones on. I'd listen to a song that I really love, and I would review it. So I would just like analyze it, I suppose. I would go like, cool, they left the drums to like, they didn't come into the chorus, and I can hear how that instrument's being panned over there, and that's a cool chord progression. And when it goes into the bridge, it does something interesting, blah, blah, blah. And I would be listening to it, and I would just have my eyes closed, and I would literally just be typing and just sort of educating myself sort of on mixing and recording and all that sort of stuff. So yes. So I'm just gonna, for the sake of this, I'm just gonna choose this one. 5 lyric ideas. There's a cool creative exercise. I think some of us have maybe done it together. It's called postcards. That's why I call it postcards, because that's what it's called. And what it is essentially just coming up with a creative idea and just describing what you might see on a postcard. But it's sort of like flicking through a couple of postcards. So you might do 5 of those, like a bird sitting on an aerial on a skyscraper. So that's one image. Then a spaceman playing Uno with a space swan. Another idea. And so that's just a little creative exercise you can do. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. So the idea is that every day you either accomplish that or you set an amount of time that you're going to do it for, 5 minutes. This could really take like one minute or 2 minutes. It doesn't matter in the beginning the length of the daily practice. It's about the consistency of showing up to build a habit. Okay, and then you do that thing and you tick it off. And then the one that I always have on my daily practice card. My daily practice card is here. I'm going to show you it. You may not be able to see it that well because it's probably small. But my daily practice card is insane. It has stacks of stuff on it. And you can see I'm showing up every day and I'm doing it. You do not have to have a daily practice card like that to start with. I started with this, literally this daily practice card. Someone from a workshop made this for me because I would just normally just like draw it out. And she's like, I made this pretty daily practice card for you. You tick it off and then you celebrate. And at the end, what I do, I do some kind of physical action like yes, or like fist pumps, like something completely cheesy and awesome and fun. And I celebrate and I say to myself, I took this one action today towards my bigger goal. So what I'm doing is really just acknowledging that on that pathway up to where I want to go, I've taken that one step. Okay. So do you have your daily practice ready to go? Is it ready to rock? And then obviously you celebrate and then you tick the box. And how good does it feel to tick a box? You celebrate again. You're like, yes. And then you do this every day. Celebrate every day. This is how you build the habit. That's how you build a habit. And this is how you build confidence and a creative identity. Because what you're reinforcing to yourself is like, I'm an artist. I show up every day. It's what I do. It's not just what I do. It's who I am. It's just it's a part of my operating system. I show up every day and I do my creative work. It's just who I am. It's just what I do. Okay, enough on that one. Next 24 hours. Again, this is just that first step. So if we're going all the way up that hill, we're just taking this very first step. What can I do in the next 24 hours? So if my goal was, what's the first aligned action I can take, would be willing to take in the next 24 hours that takes me one step forward in the right direction? Make it measurable so you can tick it off. Okay. I want you to do that now. We've been going through this process, this big vision, big idea, slowly grounding it into something we can actually do, something we can do, something we're willing to do. So in my case, I would not put on there, I'm going to write a song, unless I absolutely had the time, the hours. I knew I was going to have no distractions. The probability of it happening is very high. Then I would put it on there. But over the next 24 hours, it's the weekend, maybe you got some other stuff planned. You don't have that time. But you want to ask yourself, what could I do? What would I be willing to do? How much time am I willing to put aside to start moving in this direction? What does that look like? Make it measurable and you can tick it off. You know you've done it or that you didn't do it. We want to start taking that step, taking that first action. Because this is all fun and games to go through the workshop and go, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Oh, I've got an idea. But at some point, we have to get the ball rolling. And we want to start with the easiest thing to get a quick hit on. So in my example, maybe it would just be to complete my daily practice. Make sure I do the daily practice. Maybe that's the first thing that I commit to. Um, Something along those lines. You'll know from your project what that thing is. You're just taking that first little sliver. So if you have an hour spare, maybe it's like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to start writing a song. I'm going to spend an hour writing a song. If you're totally chockers, you've got 10 minutes, I'm going to sit down, do my daily practice, come up with some song ideas and a simple chord progression. It could be super simple. So like I said, this is not about like pressure. This is about being aligned and having something you can do and actually getting excited about doing that thing. Like, oh my God, that would be so cool. Okay. All right. So I want to hear it. I want to hear it in the chat, people. Because this is where we start to land the plane and actually make things happen. So what's the thing you're gonna do in the next 24 hours? Ah, and then you want to write down what could go wrong. What's kept me from taking action in the past? So here we're sort of thinking about the why not stuff again. Like what has stopped me from doing this in the past? Maybe if it was like procrastination you wrote down earlier, or I don't have boundaries, I keep giving my time up to other people or whatever. You want to get in contact with that right now. All right, because that's what we're going to work on for the next probably 20 minutes or so. I'm just going to let you do that. I'm just taking a couple of notes here. All right. So if you have been involved in any of my work at all, you will have seen this every single time, because every time I talk about creativity mindset, this is what I talk about. But if you are not familiar, then hopefully you will love this as much as I do, which is a lot. I love this a lot. Okay. And if you know what I'm about to do, you can type it in the chat. It's 4 letters. What am I going to do? What's he going to do? Okay. So this is the source of all creative blocks. This is the source of everything that stops us. And the reason that I keep coming back to this, and the reason that I talk about this all the time, and the reason that this is in every presentation I do, basically, is because the more I learn about this, the more true it is, and the more powerful it is. The better you can understand this, the better you can integrate this knowledge into your day, into your life, the more your life will improve. Not just in creativity and art, but in all aspects of your life. This isn't just the source of creative blocks. This is the source of your life, of how your life works. Okay. Way to hype it up. But I genuinely believe this. Oh, Samantha, I'm going to check in with your thing before I do this. So my goal moved since starting this call, even from one self-produced track to 5 for the year. Awesome. My movement for today will be to actually track the piano for the second one, because that's the next thing that needs to be done and will help me to move forward. Love this, Sam. Love it. Give myself daily goals for each track versus just hoping I find the time to finish that part. Ah, awesome. Great. When I get a bee in my bonnet about something, I will 100% commit to it, and having a good quality MIDI piano track in there first is going to absolutely stoke the flames and grow my momentum. Yes! Love this. Track 1 with my mixing engineer, so I can start number 2 and can start strong. Baby, come on! High five, Sam. This is really good clarity. And also I can feel your commitment to it. I can feel your enthusiasm for it, your clarity for it. And that you've shaped it in a way that you know is going to work for you. So really love that. Well done. High fives. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad your plans got cancelled too. This is way better fun. Great. All right. Clarity is coming through already. Okay, so let's do this thing. So we have thoughts. Thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings lead us to take actions, and then our actions cause our results. So this is like the unbroken chain of events for results. So if I want my album, it has to go through this process. So everything in the physical world, we always use this example, but this t-shirt had to go through this process to get made in the physical world that we exist in. So someone had to think, I want to create a really bright yellow t-shirt. Then they had feelings about it. Either they were like, that's a great idea. I love that. I love yellow. I love t-shirts. I love designing. Then they went ahead, they designed this t-shirt. Then they found someone to make it. They got it made. They got it on the shelves, and now I'm wearing it. That's the result. So now the t-shirts here. So everything goes through this process. Here's this book, The Tao Te Ching. My book. I wrote this book, Golden Moment. It went through that process. It was a thought in my head. I had feelings and motivations and excitement about doing it. I took action. I sat down. I wrote a couple of 1,000 words per song from my album, Golden Moment. Then I edited it. I worked with an editor. I got it all formatted up. I got it printed. And here it is. This very easily could have stayed in here doing nothing, just floating around probably for years and years and years and haunting me, making me feel like I'm not an artist, making me feel like I have all this regret around not taking action, blah, blah, blah. But it's in this, and the reason I keep hitting it, it's just to emphasize this thing of physical world. Like, you know, they say like if it didn't happen, or if it's not on Instagram, it didn't happen or whatever. If it's not physical, it didn't really happen. And I know, you know, there's digital music and there's conceptual art. There's exceptions to that. But basically, if it didn't get done, it didn't get done. So, so to get to the result, we have to go back here. So to get to the result, we had to have taken action. We had to have had some feeling, that had some thought. And this is where creative blocks live, between thoughts and feelings. So this is our internal world. This is the external world, the physical world. In the world of thoughts and feelings, this is where artists tend to live. We're constantly having ideas and we're constantly having feelings about those ideas. And we tend to just go back and forth, thought, feeling, thought, feeling, thought, feeling, thought, feeling. And we kind of get trapped in thoughts and feelings because it's our home base. We're good at it, comes naturally. And we're not as good at moving into action. And of this formula, you probably have this down pat, thoughts, and you probably have feelings down pat. You can do that. The action is the difficult part. This is like the magical ingredient, because if you do this, if you do action, results automatically happen. They take care of themselves. And so I literally have that. It's funny, I literally have this on my door. I'll grab it for you. 1 second. I have carried this around with me since I think 2013, 2014, when I went to this workshop and I had this realization where I learned this. I was like, okay, action is everything. Thoughts and feelings I can do. Action is where I keep falling down. So I don't know if it's going to block it out or something. But hopefully you can see that. I had to put it on a weird angle. Action board, thoughts, feeling, action, results. It's funny that I drew it basically the exact same way. And so it just sits on my door here because the key to having the result you want is action. Hopefully through this process we've been going through of getting clarity, hopefully your thoughts feel clear. Hopefully your feelings feel clear. Then the next step that has to happen is action. Without the action, you don't get the result. So how do we change our thoughts? Well, we've been doing it through getting some clarity. But where do your thoughts come from? This is what I call your creativity mindset. So your creativity mindset is essentially your subconscious mind and how your brain has been set up, usually from early childhood, but also through the experiences we have through life. And so one huge one is associations. This is how we relate to the world, how we interpret the world, essentially. And I'm going to explain that more in a second. But another one is identity. Like, do I have the identity of an artist, or do I have blocks around imposter syndrome, etc.? Things around like acceptability, like what's acceptable. Is it acceptable to be an artist, or is that a bad thing? Another thing is status too. Is being an artist in your mind, is it low status or high status? That's actually a very powerful one. Is it high status or low status? There's a long list of these, probably like 30 different kind of ways that we filter our reality. So this is reality over here. This is just the world, pure reality. And it comes in here through our eyes, ears, all of our senses, goes through our mindset, goes through our brain, and then it gets interpreted. And then from that's how we see the world. That dictates what thoughts we're going to have. It dictates what feelings we're going to have. It dictates what actions we're going to take. And it dictates what results we're going to get. So your creativity mindset equals the results you're getting. So if you're not writing the songs you want to write, then it comes back here. If you're not painting the paintings you want to paint, it comes back here. If you're not reaching out to people, if you're not doing gigs, if you're not whatever it is, the source of it is always going to be coming back here. There's a result you want, it's tied directly to your mindset. It's a pure mirror of your mindset. Okay, cool. So the only way to sort of dissolve this wall is to change how our mindset, not even how we think and feel. It's really our mindset, our associations, identity, etc. So we're not going to be able to do all of that here, but I do want us to start the process. Oh, why is that all still there? Okay. Ah, there we go. Okay. So the creative mindset is like your subconscious versus your conscious mind. I like to use this example of an elephant is your subconscious mind. It's extremely powerful, and a mouse just sits on top of that and it gets carried around by the elephant, by your subconscious mind. So the only way to change it is to learn how to get the mouse to talk to the elephant. Because if the mouse wants to go in a different direction, at the moment it's just helpless. It's just going to go wherever the elephant goes. So the mouse has to learn to talk to the elephant to get it to steer it in a different direction to get different results. So one primary way is associations. I like to use this as an example because I feel like it's a really clear example. So if someone has, we all have associations with basically everything, with every concept, like even with this bottle. For some reason, you will have associations about this bottle. It'll be like, you know, I don't like that color, or that color reminds me of something else, or my association with this bottle is this is a great bottle because it has a big opening where I can quickly refill it. It doesn't have one of those little sucker straw things. It's got a proper thing here. I can open it and it seals really well. And it's 1 liter. So I can keep track of how much I drink. So my associations with this are very positive. That's why I wrote my name and phone number on the bottom. Okay. But we all have associations. So one's with birthday. So if you have really positive associations with birthday, then you're the kind of person who probably will want to have a birthday party. If you have negative associations like, oh, I'm just getting older and, you know, I don't have any friends, no one's going to come to my party anyway, then you're not going to take the action that gets you the result of birthday. All of these associations are happening subconsciously around our art and being an artist. The first one is art is. So you can start writing this down. What are your associations around art? Art is great, art's life-changing, or it might be, so have a positive and a negative column. Negatives might be art is a waste of time, art is not valued, art is rigged, whatever it might be. The next one is I am. Either it's I'm awesome, I'm confident, I'm capable, I'm positive, I'm diligent, I'm disciplined, or it's I am not good enough. I am not creative. I am an imposter. I am shy. Whatever it might be. Okay. And the third one is my art is. My art is an incredible contribution to the world. My art is my perspective. My art is something that helps me learn and grow, whatever. Or it might be my art is useless. My art is not as good as so-and-so. My art is blah, 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 blah. So depending on your associations, that's going to dictate whether we move forward or whether we stay where we are or whether we even retreat and we quit. So developing really positive associations in all of these areas is it's crucial for us to move forward, and it dictates our results and the outcomes of our life. And it's important to firstly come up with these positive associations, know what the negative ones are, and collapse those. And with the positive ones, we have to continue to reinforce them and condition them in and make them the default setting, essentially, rather than, oh, my work's crap, whatever. It becomes, my work is great, or my work is my expression and I'm proud of it. That those two paths send you to very, very, very different places in the future. Okay. So your current associations are either moving towards your dream or they're causing you to move away. Whatever association dominant, that's what's going to happen. Okay. So it always comes back to your creativity mindset. I can't state this enough. I've been saying this for 12 years, running creativity mindset mastery. It's why it's called that. It's why blah, 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 blah. This is the thing. All right. So improving it. So in what ways is your negative creative mindset holding you back? So I want you to write this out. In what way is your mindset currently holding you back? So those things we explored, which are the, why not? Why hasn't this already happened? What are those negative mindsets that were holding you back in that example? So procrastination, how is that holding you back? How would you feel if you could dissolve those negative associations? And what would you be able to achieve with a supportive creativity mindset? Completely different worlds. So a healthy and supportive creativity mindset is the key to your creative life. Yeah, I still really, truly believe that's true. So, man, we're actually running out of time here, but we got one more thing to do. So how do you change your mindset? First, you get awareness, which is what we're doing here. You learn about your subconscious, how that works. You learn to use questions to change how you are processing the world, essentially. Then you reframe those blocks that you have, and then you rewire it in, meaning condition it in. So I have this process to do it. Intention, which is what we're about to do. We're going to set an intention. We're going to raise our commitment level. We're going to take action. You're going to complete that action. And then the integration is when you celebrate doing it. So this is how we're going to do it. Again, if you've done my work before, you will know this. And I don't just talk about all this stuff. Here's my weekly commitment list for this week. So I use this every single week. We're going to do it for the next 24 hours. I, Samantha Sharp, commit 100% to completing the following tasks in the next 24 hours. And then you write the date and time, no matter what, and then write down your action. So what did you say your little action was for the next 24 hours? Something to do with the piano track, I think. All right, cool. So again, needs to be measurable so you know you can do it. Production work, maybe yes. So is there a time frame that you're doing it for? Is it so either you do it until you get the outcome, or you do it for a set period of time? So for me, if I say write a song, it means I don't stop until the song's done, or I say, 1 hour of songwriting. Nice, awesome. All right, then I want you to sign that, and I want you to put it in the chat even. All right, so this is your artist commitment. Share it in chat, post your action so we can celebrate you. So again, this is what we've done today, is we sort of got clarity and we set this intention. I'm going to do this thing. we've raised your commitment level. That's what the second part of Ikaki is, raise your commitment level. And you do that by making a public declaration or by writing it out to yourself and you're saying, I am committed to this 100%. The next step is to take the action. You have to take the action. When I do coaching with people, we normally set up consequences too. So it's like, okay, if I don't take this action this week, this thing's going to happen. That gets people going. Then you have to complete the action, not just start the action, but you have to fully complete it as you wrote it down. So if it's 20 minutes of songwriting, that's exactly what has to happen. Because if you do 18 minutes, your brain's going to say, oh, you didn't really do it. But when you fully complete it, then you can do the last step, which is integration. And that's essentially the celebration. That's when you go, I did the thing. I set the intention. I raised my commitment. I took the action. I finished it. And then you get to tell yourself a new story, which is, I'm an awesome artist. I get shit done. Okay. And then we do that loop again. This is how we condition it in. Then the next day or the next week, you set a new intention, new commitment, new action, fully completed. And then you tell yourself that story. We did it. Oh my God. On time. All right. So, okay. So, yeah, I hope you have found this really helpful. I mainly did this because my wife actually said, you know what? There's probably a lot of people, a lot of artists out there, because she saw me go through my planning process. She's like, there's probably a lot of people out there who could use a bit of help getting clear at the start of the year for their art. And I was like, yeah, probably. I'm going to do this free thing. So I wanted to make this completely free. I just wanted to help you as much as possible. Then there's new steps. Thanks, Lena. Thanks for being here and thanks for staying all the way through. Really appreciate it and really hope you got a lot out of it. Yeah, I hope you found it helpful. We did go through a lot. I tried, like I said earlier, we normally do this over a full day at a live workshop. And even then it's like we're cramming it in. So it's so much to do. So you've all done amazingly well. So we did deeper purpose, we did creative vision, we tapped into your motivation, your why, what's getting in the way. So uncovering your blocks. We talked about your strategy for the year, your goal. We talked about daily practice. You wrote your commitment statement. Hopefully you wrote that out. And you got an understanding of the creativity mindset, which underpins sort of everything I do and everything that kind of motivates how I work with people and how I help artists. So your next level, if you want to. So if you feel like you got clarity and a pathway forward and you'd love more time or support to get your plan perfected, apply for a private artist reset call. I did one with Penny this week. I hope, Penny, you found that really helpful. And what we'll do on that call is help you refine your strategy, because usually that's a place where people get stuck. We can do any part of the mindset work, starting to explore or change those associations so that you move forward, remove creative blocks so you can feel kind of energized to move forward. We can talk about actually kind of weekly planning so that you can get more time to do this thing in an ongoing way to be set up. That's one thing we didn't get to go through today. Yeah, and it's just limited to artists from this session. So if you showed up, you got to the end, you can either scan that code. If you're watching on a laptop, you can scan it with your phone and hopefully it should take you to my bit.ly link. Click that, that'll take you to my calendar. Set a time to chat. I'm doing it totally free. It's a gift. And that's about it. So we'll follow up and find out about your coaching workshops. Very valuable info. Thanks from Manchester, UK. Thanks so much for joining from the UK. It must be really late your time. Is that right? Yeah. So, thanks so much for the meeting this week and for the session today. 1 a.m. You are a freaking superstar. There we go. Yeah, really, really honored that you'd come and spend the time with us, and I'm really glad it was helpful and worthwhile for you. Brilliant. Thanks, legendary artists, for everything that you do, your creativity, for who you are, for what you bring to the world. It's really so important for artists to be doing their work and expressing who they are and putting your point of view out into the world. I know sometimes it can feel like maybe no one cares, but there really only has to be one person who cares, and that person has to be you. And, in my creative journey, I've been, down lots of alleyways and had peaks and troughs and challenges and wins, and the thing that always brings it back is where we started, which was deeper purpose, really connecting to yourself as an artist, knowing that your work does matter, your art does matter. And then it's about just what I'm here to do is help you move into action to bring it out into the world so that you live the creative life that you want to live, whatever you want to do. So, the code didn't work. The QR code? Okay. I can send you a link, or you can go to that other link, but I'll follow up with you. Thanks for letting me know. All right. Let's leave it there. Thanks, everyone. Big love. Peace out. Take care. Feel free to be in touch whenever you need anything. And see you next time. Bye-bye for now.